Dubai's hotel scene has the largest room pipeline of any market in the world, but does that mean a crash is coming in supply? I'm Jeremy Lawrence. I'm joined by Bernd Debusmann today here on Inside AB. So Bernd, you were talking this week to Hoftel chairman Simon Allison about whether we've got an oversupply issue coming in the next few years. Before we talk about what he said, what is Hoftel?
Well, it's an organization that essentially brings together investors and operators. They hold summits all over the world. So it's basically all the kind of big players in the hospitality industry coming together as an association.
Okay, I'm sure they've talked about this subject a lot. So what did he have to tell you? Are we looking at an oversupply in the coming years?
Well, it was interesting. He said that at the moment, the pipeline in terms of rooms is about 50,000, which is a lot, but it's even more when you consider the fact that there's less than 100,000 rooms already in the market in Dubai. So it's going up essentially by half. And other stats show that by Expo 2020, there'll probably be about 164,000 rooms. So even more than other than the first statistic I mentioned. And at the moment, there's been kind of a slight softening in the market, but I mean, there has been no real effect, and that's kind of what he was looking into, is whether that's coming now in this next year or two.
Okay. Presumably with all that supply, it's going to have, even if occupancy holds up relatively well, there's going to be a big effect on revenues?
Well, he said that it's kind of inevitable that at least there'll be a dip in revenues, particularly in 2018 and 2019. I mean, there's a lot of factors at play. I mean, there's that huge supply coming in. There's VAT, and there's different markets that are also coming up in the area. But he said it's not necessarily all it's not all doom and gloom, because I mean, of course, with the new hotels that are coming onto the market, there's new attractions. Of course, there's new theme parks. There's, for example, the Dubai Frame. Lots of things that are bringing people to Dubai still in huge numbers. So there'll be a dip, but he thinks there'll be kind of a correction afterwards as well.
Okay. Now, what about the other players in the market? There's a few other countries, neighboring countries, that want to attract tourists as well, that are also building entertainment facilities of their own. I'm thinking about Yas Island in Abu Dhabi. Oman's making a big push. So what effect will those places have?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, Dubai's not the only place that's making a push in terms of hospitality. Abu Dhabi is, Ras Al Khaimah is especially, is kind of, Ras Al Khaimah wants to be kind of a family destination, or an outdoorsy destination, I suppose you could say. But it's not just in the UAE. Saudi Arabia, tourism's a big part of their long-term vision. Yeah. So you never know. I mean, people that are looking for beach and desert, for example, coming from Russia or from the Far East, might instead one day go to Saudi Arabia or look at other options at least. Whereas, I think it's fair to say Dubai is now the prime option for people looking in, that market. And there's other locations like Sri Lanka, for example, or I think Sri Lanka is probably the best example, or Zanzibar, that are kind of, if they expand their offerings, they have kind of a history that the UAE can't compete with. But that's not the real challenge. He said that the real challenge is going to be Expo, because I mean, there's so many hotels that are being built in relation to Expo, and this happens whenever there's a huge event, that it's unclear what happens immediately after Expo, once the event's over. For example, he said that when Barcelona had the Olympics in the 80s, for 2 years after the Olympics, hotel occupancy went down by about almost 50%. But the thing he said is most important is that, if Dubai makes a good impression on the world during Expo, then, visitors will continue kind of, because that's what brings people here, but it's not necessarily what's going to bring them back. So if Dubai or anywhere else that has a big event makes a good impression, there's not much to worry about.
Barcelona is probably a good example, actually, because hard to believe now, but it wasn't on the tourist radar as much before the Olympics as it is now. I mean, it made huge strides following the successful event. Yeah,
that's what he said. He said about 2 years after the event, so I guess around 1986 is when things started to pick up again, and things haven't really let up since. I think Barcelona is still probably in the one of the most popular destinations in the world, certainly in Europe, both within Europe and for people coming from abroad.
Okay. So with that in mind, he's bullish about the future, is what we're saying.
Yeah, he says, that all will be well in the future. I mean, there's not much to worry about. He's quite optimistic about what the future holds, because he says that, Dubai has a reputation and has things that nowhere else in the world has, even in the region. So given that past success, he's confident that it'll continue in the future.
Okay, just recap on those statistics just to finish. So we're going from 100,000 rooms to 150,000 rooms, then
164,000 according to one study.
Wow, incredible, incredible. But if they get it right, they should be able to make a go of it.
Right.
Fantastic. Well, is there an oversupply coming? Possibly. Is it a problem? Possibly not. This has been Inside AB. Please do subscribe. We're here every morning at 10 a.m. So do join us again. See you then.